And
welcome back to HECC. It's our final day on Friday. It's always an interesting day on Friday that you get to go through the vendor halls one last time. It seems like some of that vendor swag is a little bit easier to pick up, like they don't want to take it home. So definitely get out through the vendor halls and see those vendors that you have not talked to yet, or the ones that you know that you're using at your school and you want to talk to them. Today's podcast, we have Joanna Cook. She is going to be our new president of the HECC organization. She has given back to this organization for many years in different capacities, and we're super excited that she's coming back next year as the president. So, welcome. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. I started off as a middle school language arts teacher way too many years ago that I don't even want to think about. Then I got my media specialist, master's in library science. So I was a media specialist at a couple of our schools, starting in elementary and then moving to the high school. And then just kind of started one-on-one at over 13 years ago. So I was still in the library in the high school the first year, but transitioned into the tech director role shortly after that. So it's kind of how I got here.
I always have a fond space in my heart for all our media specialists out there. We've got a really great one in Seymour, and it seems like tech and media specialists, they work really hand in hand. And I know in our world at Seymour, they make a lot of our processes move when we need that extra hand. So thank you for all your work there.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, so starting off, thinking about the next year is really exciting. And as that incoming HECC president, what is your vision? What are you thinking about as you think about the future of the conference? And how do you see HECC kind of evolving over even the next few years?
Yeah, this was a tough one. You guys gave me the questions a little bit ahead of time. Just thinking about that because I really feel like we have a pretty rich history of excellence. And so to think about how you make that better and what that's going to look like for the future is a little bit tough. So I think one of our strengths, though, is the HECC board is that we're continually looking every year. We try to refine and get better every single year. So I think I would say that my vision is to continue the great history and traditions that we have now, and then just continue to push forward to make it the best conference we can every single year. I think someone said to me yesterday that was a vendor, all the people that they heard talk about the conference, they've never heard anybody complain about the content. And I just think that's because we work so hard every year to try to meet as many needs as we can. So just to continue that tradition and make it better every single year we can.
Yeah, it's always our goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely agree. The board's always listening, and always willing to take feedback, and they really do appreciate critical feedback as well. Nobody really ever has hard feelings. It's just a push forward for the board. We've had some big changes over the last few years, whether it be schedule, whether it be Bill Rader's lunch attack, all the different changes. So there's definitely spots where we've grown, and I think even with the pool being built in this last year, that was a very big change. That works out really well on the hotel side. I like the new traffic pattern of those booths.
Yeah, and we're already talking about that. I know this morning we already have a document started. What are we looking to change to improve?
Right.
But it really is a well-oiled machine. I personally look forward to it every year. I've been coming for a long time. This came a long way from when Brad was out at the airport running this thing. So, for our listeners who may not know exactly what the role of the HECC president does, can you kind of explain a typical year of HECC?
Yeah, well, I mean, as good as I can since I haven't done one yet, but what I just kind of figured is kind of like the person that connects the dots. I mean, we have so many, you talked about us being a well-oiled machine. I mean, we have so many committees that are constantly looking at the bylaws, looking at social events, looking at different things like that. So the president, I really feel like, is the person that connects the dots from between all the committees, our conference chairs, kind of unifies and brings all that together. And communication, obviously, is a huge thing throughout the course of the year. So
always,
yeah,
doesn't matter where you're at, communication is the key.
Definitely.
And a lot of people may not know that we didn't just start this conference planning last month.
Right.
But I don't think there's a month that goes by throughout the year that somebody's not in the back channel somewhere working on a little sliver or a little something.
Exactly.
Make sure those details get taken care of.
I love this next conversation, please, because it's about past presidents, and I know that even the past presidents that are not even on the board anymore, we're still meeting with them and talking with them. We look forward to having dinner with them. And so, how, like, what advice have they given you, and what have they said? Like, okay, it's your turn. Here's some advice for you. And what have they told you that's been really meaningful as you step into this new role?
I just think I love to listen to Brad Hageloff, regardless. I don't know if he's around here anymore, but I just feel like he is so wise. And as far as advice, not so much, but so many of them, Susan Neville was one of the first, but Susan Parker and Jackie and now Greg. I mean, they're all just pretty laid back and calm. So I just think trying not to get all stressed out like you talked about. I'm that kind of person, just to just enjoy it and just do the best job I can. I mean, so ask me that question in a year and I'll tell you. I'll be able to answer that.
You give advice for the next one, right?
Definitely. Susan Parker, I think, put together a good little folder just for the presidents, and she's passed it down to me to try to get over that and see what's in there. But, yeah.
So you spoke just there about a lot of past people, and I know you've had experience on the board many times over a good span. We personally talked about some people in the past. What's one of your favorite HECC history guys?
I was thinking about that today, this morning. Obviously, the joke at the counter every year, but I liked we haven't done it for a while, Wide Open Gift Exchange, just the characters that have been on the board over the years. And the types of gifts, like Bob giving, was it a pillow 1 year with his face on it?
It's one of those sequence ones, so you didn't have the sequence.
Just hilarious gifts of things that people put together, little tech and stuff like that. So that was a cool tradition.
I like that one as well. And I like there was some history inside of the White House too, of some gifts that were reoccurring for years and years and years. They would just show back up, sometimes from a different candidate that you didn't even know they had access to. So.
Right. So bring that back.
Okay, so with that, like every year we bring this to the conference. We bring a tool that is a part of the registration. All attendees receive an educational technology tool, and it's not easy to make that choice. So what area do you think we should focus on? Have you even thought about that in the coming years? Maybe not so much next year necessarily, but in the coming years, it's getting harder and harder to pick.
Yeah. I think we just do our best to try to pick some tool that is relevant for that time. So it's hard to actually come up with a specific item because I feel like every year we're looking to see what's kind of the newest gadget, if you will, what's the newest tech tool that's out there, what can we bring that has some kind of educational relevance, all of that. So I think it changes with the years and the stipulations that we have to live under as well in terms of the cost and being able to return things and stuff like that. So I think it changes every year.
And I like that sometimes the tools focus more on the user, or maybe more on students, or it just varies.
It's definitely been an interesting couple of years where I think everybody listening and we all can agree that with AI push into everything, so much progress was done in software, not necessarily hardware. But I will put a shameless plug in for next year. Instead of the Ray-Ban glasses that have the cameras over them, I enjoy that. That would make this conversation more fun.
Are they in price point? That's
First person, right?
I love that.
So, Indiana has an incredible network of technology leaders and folks. I was just talking to one of our vendor booths about that. They were asking me how I could get some help on a thing, and I said, well, I already found 2 people that have your product, and they said, call me next week. How can tech coordinators and directors and CTOs stay connected and involved throughout the year when it's not Tech Week?
Yeah. I mean, all I can tell you is one of the single most important things to me in the last year has been the HECC listserv. We lost someone that had been in our district for 22 years, that had a lot of experience, and when he left, that's a lot of knowledge walking out the door. And so a lot of things that I haven't had to do in the past, I've had to do. And so it's just been so helpful to be able to reach out on the HECC listserv, and just ask advice. I mean, I asked a question about anybody have any vendors that can do like AV type installs. Maybe we can have the kind of future project. I got probably 12 responses from other tech directors, some vendors off the list, but just hearing from the other tech directors who they used, what their positive experiences were. Initially when I started probably on board, even before then, and got subscribed to the HECC listserv, I think I probably brought them into a folder and didn't really read them. And now it's like daily. I make sure they come into my inbox so that I know what's going on. It's good to know about those outages before. We find out from vendors a lot of times. We'll find out on the HECC listserv if people are having issues, and then it's so much faster to know what you're dealing with, if other people are already dealing with it, and also just sharing ways that they fix things or problems that we've had over the course of time. So I think that is definitely one of the great ways to stay connected. I think the meetings now with the service centers and the regional meetings is super. Just having that connection across the state is a great way to get involved as well.
Yeah. Well, we talked earlier on a different podcast. Another big one we've seen an uptick on the listserv is people sending out like a subject line or of an email that's a phishing email, so that others can block it before it even gets in their environment. And sounds like you're a great listserv user, and I look at the listserv daily. But for those that don't, some of those answers you may be following the listserv and see that nothing gets responded. Some of those answers, when you ask a question, come directly from your email box. So don't hesitate to ask a question because you think somebody's not going to answer it. Somebody may just not want to answer it, and the public will fly all for it, and you'll get some great answers just directly to you. It's always a piece I like to share. It's, like you, I had a lot of questions that they saved me a ton of time just by asking the question.
Definitely.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so it kind of leads in right to the next question. The CTO conference and then the town hall events really have county spaces for sharing ideas and challenges. And how do you see that continuing to shape collaboration and then professional growth statewide? Because that's the next piece.
It's really been neat. I've been in education for we'll just say over 30 years, just to see how things are becoming more connected. There's more intentional connections being made across the state in years like those. So just continuing to do that. I know there was some kind of move toward IASBO, kind of having some partnerships with CTO or company or whatever. I love that connection. So it's very neat just to see how those are growing, and then that collaboration is. It just seems a lot more unifying across the state to have that. Definitely.
Strength in numbers.
Definitely.
We're all doing the same thing.
I was excited to see the IoT team in here presenting HECC this year, and then you're really starting to see that collaboration of IoT on the city side and allowing education to kind of bounce things off of. And start hearing the stereo, is what I like to say.
Yeah.
From all different sides, right?
Yeah.
I like that.
Let's kind of pick your brain on how you envision a few things, right? So HECC's working with Indiana DOE, IoT, the other organizations. It seems like we have lots of organizations. How do we strengthen education cybersecurity readiness with all of the organizations? Do you have any pie in the sky dream of ideas of how we increase the communication we just talked about just on cybersecurity?
That's a big question.
It is.
I don't think I have a great answer for that, other than I think you touched on one of the things, just the power of sharing. Because so many of those groups are interconnected or so well connected, I should say, when something happens in one of our districts and the ability to share that out on other people and have those connections already in place, I think is super powerful. Thinking about like when the Power School incidents happened, we were all pretty connected across the state. I think has a lot to do with that as well. And kind of meeting virtually with a lot of people, talking about what people were going through, how we were dealing with it, and things like that. So just to continue those efforts, and it's just exciting to watch it grow and those organizations actually working together instead of more like single solitary organization. Yeah.
Goes all the way back to like the Candace Dotson that put some of that foundation together and Bragg picked up that torch and ran with it and made big changes for the state getting communication out.
Yeah. Well, he's
I always said it'd be interesting if we had a neat little spot and we can all share, hey, I blocked this and I blocked it for this reason.
There we go.
You know, aside from just coming in with everything else that comes on the list there. So
it's a great idea.
Here's a whole bunch of emails.
Yeah, I mean, it really all comes down to the community that HECC has, and can, like, it's intentional. And how can tech professionals, especially smaller districts, get more involved? Because they can't always make it to every in-person event, or sometimes even the conference. I think that can really be a struggle. Do you have any recommendations?
I think just continue to watch, not just Worcester. There's obviously other ways that other organizations put things out, but there's so many of the lunch and learn things happening now. So many opportunities to just join virtually to things and have discussions and learn more about stuff that way. So I just think, especially in a smaller district, you really have to take advantage of those types of opportunities to get yourself connected. It's real easy to stay in your office and just, and just work on whatever you have in your inbox every day. But that connection to other individuals is so powerful in terms of growing and learning stuff.
And I think you said it best with being intentional, right? Like the IOP and the DOE offer us Udemy classes for our teams now, and being intentional, taking advantage of those opportunities. And not just take advantage of them, but setting a plan that, I really am going to stop on a Wednesday and do this class once a week.
Right.
If not, the inbox takes over, right? The fires are very real.
They burn continuously. They're never out.
And you never know really what's coming.
Exactly.
Right?
Or how long it'll take to resolve.
Or when you have a law, you're like, this is weird.
Yeah. And then it's like, when's the next game we're going to drop? What's going to happen?
Where is this doing?
Yeah, this is true.
If you were going to give one piece of advice to somebody that was wanting to present HECC as the president of HECC next year, what would that piece of advice be?
Just try. Just step out there and do it. I'm one that's I'm pretty introverted. I know professionally when I have to not be introverted. But just stepping out and continuing to learn and grow. I told you when you asked about doing the podcast, every bit of me was screaming, no, I don't want to do it. But I just know I have to step out there and try new things like that. And I think that if somebody thinks that they want to present, they should just put it out there and give it a shot. And,
And we all know we have amazing people in the state that probably don't want to speak, but we would love to have them speak in those really high technical classes. You can come here and you see that they're full, right?
Yeah.
And the other part of that too is I think if you know somebody that would be a good speaker to encourage them, or even say you'll present with them. Because I think that's a big thing is if you have a partner, it makes it so much easier to get started. And if you're started, then you know that you have that confidence and you can do it. And it just makes it easy.
And I think with all of us on the board, like we all know people as well. And so when we're sitting together and brainstorming about topics for next year, what do we need to see some presentations about? Everybody has this rich amount of people that they serve with, and like I have very strong CFO and a very strong safety director, and I talked them into doing some presentations this year. They both had to pull it out at the last minute, but like you said, like picking those brains that normally wouldn't come to this conference to talk about how we work together between tech and safety or tech and the CFO. So yeah. Definitely.
And accountability are real. That's why you're on this side of the table. I'm sorry it doesn't help you, but it does definitely take some of the edge off of that uncertainty. And let's be honest, I sat in on a lot of sessions this week here. Some of them take life of their own. If you just get the people in the room and you have the topics up there and you have questions, chances are somebody's in your session that can help you with those questions.
Absolutely.
Agreed. So I would like to know, like, you're a tech coordinator. Like, what's one of your biggest challenges?
I think the sheer magnitude of things that we are involved in. I mean, tech is involved in every single area of the school. You can't have access control without tech being involved. You can't have cameras without tech being involved. You can't have software without tech being involved. So just trying to keep up with the sheer amount of growth and things that we're involved in. Excuse me. Thanks. That is what's frustrating me. I'm one of those people that like to see something to its completion and have it finished off and then running. And it's never like that. I mean, so you constantly feel like you're running on the hamster wheel trying to just keep up. That's my biggest challenge, honestly. And then feeling that you can't know everything, but you feel like you should. Yeah, it's hard as well, because there's no way you can know everything.
It's a weird stressor when somebody comes in and asks you a question because they don't know something, and then you feel like you let them down because you also don't know the same thing that they don't know.
Yes,
but
definitely. But
but the constant is real. It's like we just updated that or refreshed that. And then you look, it's like, oh.
I would say I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. But I know who to tell people to go to. You know, I know who's strong in what areas. I think also trying to keep your pulse on both as a tech director or as a TO, on both the technical side and the teacher side, the educational side. Because I came from the educational side, but just trying to keep both of those things sort of going and running and moving is also a definite challenge. I like it when I focus a little more on the teacher side, but sometimes I feel like all I do is spend my time on the technical side. So, yeah.
On the flip side of that, what's one of your proudest moments of working in educational technology?
I just love to see. I have 2 tech coaches this year. He's almost always been very supportive of our staff when it comes to technology integration. Our superintendent up here, Ian Linson, when we started one-to-one all those years ago, was very intentional about having support for teachers, and so we were able to get tech coaches in all of our buildings at all of our levels. But in the last couple of years, with the University Collaborative movement, some of our coaches that were in the elementary became just instructional. So we've had a big hole in our elementary, just any kind of support for teachers, especially integration, things like that. There's just been a gaping hole. And there's not people who fill that. Like I would struggle to do it because I'm not in the classroom every day, even though I would like to. And our desks can't do some of that kind of integration type thing. So as far as proud, I have 2 coaches that were both secondary, middle school and high school, Laura Cyber and Jarrett, that willingly took on the elementary schools. So they're now supporting elementary schools along with their secondary schools. Willingly did that, and just to hear those schools just singing the praises of thank you so much for having support for us, because we've just not had that. So this year it's just been a joy to watch what's happening in our elementary buildings after not really getting the support that they deserve all those years. It's been proud for me. Yeah.
That's a huge undertaking too, to jump from level to level. And it's a job that's never done.
Correct.
Right? It's a rinse, wash, repeat, change, keep growing.
Yes. And they were really involved with, so we never really got a ton of support in our elementary buildings during testing time. And you know how that is. Something doesn't work, or somebody's practice test isn't working. But they were so intentional about practicing ahead of time and doing things to make sure that their Chromebooks were working properly and all of that. That testing just, we didn't even know what was happening because it was so smooth. And that was great for them. So, yeah, definitely.
Okay. So let's talk about AI.
Oh boy.
What's an AI tool you have used recently? And then how do you see it playing a role in efficiency for educators?
I feel like I should come up with something mind-blowing here, but my favorite tool literally is we have the full version of Microsoft Copilot. We have about 20 licenses for that in my district right now. We share it or we won't share it, but we have mostly administrators that have access to that right now. It's been very cool to see how Microsoft has worked Copilot into all of their products. And I love that, to be in email and be able to use AI to help you compose an email and then, refine it and then just stick it in your email and away it goes. I mean, it's such a game changer to be in Excel and not be able to figure out why a formula is working and be able to use Copilot right within Excel is just, it's very powerful. I also say, I really do like trying different ones to see what kind of results I get from. So if I'm planning a presentation, I may put it in Copilot to see what kind of ideas I get from that, and then turn around and put it in Gemini, and just take the best of it too. That's where it's power lies. There's so many tools that you can pick and choose what you want to use for what. So yeah, that's not mind blowing or anything, but that's the integrated piece of the full version. I think is smart. Yeah.
The first time you show somebody the ability of AI to write through those formulas where they've always struggled with formulas.
Yes.
And now to write abstracts for sheets in Google, it's
Stuff like that. Exactly. And then I think the time you've been troubleshooting things, just hop in there, or if a teacher asks a question on our help email line that we have, I'll just put it into Copilot and give me some suggestions about how to troubleshoot this, and then be able to just, hey, give this a shot and go from there. I mean, the time is just amazing.
And that's the piece of AI in education that we're all looking at. It's one of those first technology tools to truly come in and start offering some time back to teachers.
Absolutely.
That's how they can go use with the students one-on-one. And by the way, they're not taking that time off. It's just going to allow them to live inside the box.
Exactly. And to differentiate easier and scaffold and things like that. I mean, stuff that would have taken forever before to do, and you can do it quickly now.
Megan told a great story when she was here at School AI, and the teacher in one of their sessions said, I just got my Sunday afternoons back.
Yes. Oh, gosh. Yeah, that's great.
So, always great to hear. So we coming close to time, and at the end we can do some rapid fire questions.
Oh boy. Okay.
And we'll go back and forth on a few questions, and you can just pop up what comes to your mind. We'll start out with, what's your favorite X session type?
Sometimes when I'm really tired after a long night at HECC, I like to just sit and get, but I do know that workshops are the best thing for me, because unless I'm putting my hands on it and having to fully be engaged in something, my brain is going to take me to all those emails that I haven't answered yet. So I would hands-on workshop probably be my best, my favorite.
Okay, preferred conference tech tool or app that you can't live without?
I'll tell you, I love Skylight Calendar this year. I love that. I love that we got to try it a little bit at a time. Thinking about the different ways we can use those throughout our district, just to increase communications, so people know that kind of stuff. I love that. I love, like you said, we've always tried to get tools that had some type of educational purpose, but it's gotten a little hard to do that over the last few years or so. So it is nice to get a tool that is something that can be of use, like the ViewSonic screens that we got, screens. Like that's the kind of thing you would normally maybe buy yourself. So to have that and be able to use that professionally is great. So yeah, I would say those. I mean,
There's definitely a different buzz with the calendar this year.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about it and asking about getting more of them.
Yeah, people are already making
I
plans.
stepped in the marathon session on it, and they have given them to their grandparents on both sides. So they update their kids' sports schedules, and it goes straight to the counters of the grandparents. It's kind of a cool take on it.
Oh, yes.
What about go-to Indiana restaurant?
Go to. I love Yard House. I don't know. I would probably say that. Like the Mexican restaurant in Nevada. That's what it's called, right? Those are probably my faves.
Okay, and a bonus question, what's your favorite meal in Indianapolis?
Actually, any of the appetizers they serve at the vendor parties on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I don't know that I have a favorite. It's all good. All very good.
Appetizer. Like you can try so many things on the menu.
Yes.
All in one evening, right?
Exactly.
When you're not pet for a school, how does Joanna unwind?
Joanna doesn't unwind very well. I do. I did get certified to teach yoga a couple of years ago. I haven't actually taught. But I do like to do that and work out and read. I would like to say I read professionally, but no. I like it. I just like reading for fun, more or less. That's probably how I am.
Well, Joanna, we really appreciate you coming on the podcast. We really appreciate everybody that's listened this week or came to the conference. If you didn't come to the conference and you just listened in, definitely get signed up for next year. We know Joanna has some great ideas as president. Congratulations again on being becoming president.
I appreciate it.
Until next time, I think we're going to sign off the podcast.
Perfect.
Thank you, everybody.